Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. Welcome to another of our weekly studies. And today we're going to look at one of the posts that I just saw recently. And this was related to something that I don't normally go over because it's basically math, basic math. And it was about some food label questions. And the individual that posted it did a great job because he put all four of the questions in there. And like I said before, anything that you can do to get this visually into the Facebook group, post it, did a great job, easy to look at. And basically all I did is I just screenshot it and took each one of the quiz questions and just threw them on a slide. So I'm just going to go over each one of them real quick with you. You know, it's funny because we've seen these type of questions before. I will say this. It's not like ACE asks a lot of questions on food label and having to calculate, but I think in the past, probably in the past year or so, particularly since they moved into from the 5th into the 6th edition, I've noticed that that students are saying that they see one or two questions related to calculations. So given that that is the case, that's one part of it, which is remember, we want you to pass the test. It's a bummer. It really is to fail one of their tests because you missed one or two questions. And maybe it was one of these nutrition food label questions. So it's not a bad idea to know it on that end of it. But here's the other side of this. From a real world perspective, pass your ACE exam, do all. Well, I'm going to tell you, understanding food labels, being able to read food labels, make some real quick assessments is exceptionally valuable when it comes to actually working with clients. That is a real world, I'm not going to say it's a skill. All it is math. It's trying to basically understand when you look at a food label, what you're dealing with. And quite often it can be as simple as picking up a package and seeing the sodium content. When you see sodium content of 500 milligrams or 600 milligrams per serving, ladies and gentlemen, come on. I don't care what the caloric content is. I don't care what, if you're on a ketogen, it doesn't matter. That is a massive amount of sodium. I'm just saying, these are the things that we look at. So the ability to literally pick up, that's a cup of coffee, by the way, to pick up a food label and read the food label and go, whoa, or to help your clients to understand that is very helpful in the real world. But back to the actual questions here. So food label questions. Let me pull this up for you. So food label questions, again, there's two components to it. You got to pass the exam. So you got to know some basic math. And I know there's a bunch of you out there that are saying, oh, come on, Doug, this is basic math. Well, yeah, to some folks, it's basic and it's very simple. And by the way, even if you do understand some of this, you want to be able to do it quick so you can move on to other questions. But look, for a lot of folks getting prepared for the ACE exam, it's maybe not as simple as you think. Because remember, conceptually, we have to deal with, when we're talking about food labels, let me go ahead and move it on here. When we're talking about food labels, the nutrition facts, what you're going to see is basically related to grams of protein, carbs, and fat, right? So you got to know grams and calories. And that's the key here to answering these questions fairly quickly so that you can move on to the next questions. And so you got to know the basics of protein, carbs, and fat when it comes to grams. So what I want to do is real quick, and by the way, the individual that put this up, I'm just going to be drawing here a little bit. The individual that put this up went ahead and said that he actually answered this first one correctly. I guess this is question 37 on the quiz that he did, and I'm sure many of you have seen this. But remember, the first thing you got to remember are the basic, most fundamental calculations of proteins, right? And carbs and fats. Let me put that up over here, fats, okay? And what are those calculations? You would know these more than likely if you've gone through any of the materials or you've been in the training world any length of time. Protein has 4 calories per gram. Okay. So again, these are the numbers that you need to know. Carbs, 4 calories. You might see it in kilocalories and probably a small g for grams, right? So for every gram of carbohydrate, every gram of protein, every gram of fat, there's a certain number of calories associated with it. So when we're looking at the nutrition facts labels, generally, this is going to be the first thing you look at. So you look at the calories, it tells you a certain number of calories, and now all they're going to do is ask you a question to see whether or not you know the basic connections. That's all. It's not going to be difficult math. And by the way, they give you the calculator. I mean, heck, come on. A lot of this stuff you can do in your head. Like this first one, like this gentleman said, he said his, I think it was, he said his 9-year-old son could do it as well. And he's right. Most of this stuff, if you know the basic formulas, what is fat? Does everybody know? Yeah, 9 kilocalories per gram. And I'm going right over my arrow. But the idea is that once you've been given some of this data, now it's just a matter of right here, knowing how to use this information. Your 4, and your 9, that should just be automatic. And so let's just go ahead and do this one since we're here already. Use the nutrition label content calculator. Answer the following. How many grams of protein? So we're at grams right now. How many grams of protein are in 1 cup? Well, here's the information. A serving size has a half a cup. So 1 cup means that whatever the protein grams are, you'd have to multiply by 2, right? So here's your information, grams of protein and the serving component. How many grams of protein are in 1 cup? How many grams of protein are in 2 cups? How many grams of protein are in 5 cups? It's whatever that number is, right? This is it. If a serving size is a half a cup, 1 cup is twice the serving size. So again, this is one of the things to keep in mind with nutrition labels, by the way, just as an aside. Always look at the serving size, not what the total content. I mean, you could look at the total content. I mean, look, in this case, 3 servings per container, whatever this is, that means that there's 3/4 of a cup of total material in there, right? 3 servings, half a cup, 2 half cups, and then 3 half cups. So 1.5 cups, right? 1.5 cups of total material. And so 3 servings, half a cup per serving, 1, 2, 3, you got 3 half cups. That's 1.5 cups of whatever it is. But in each serving, these are your numbers. So in this case, total was 7 per half cup. Obviously, in 1 cup, it's going to be 14. You just multiply it. And yes, this guy's 9-year-old son could have figured that out for sure. There's your basic calculation. This one. Now, the problem, though, is that this gentleman, and he made note of this, he's like, but I don't understand the next 3 questions. So again, let's just work through it real quick and utilize those pieces of information that we already know. Proteins, carbs, and fats. 4, and 9 calories per gram. What is the percent of calories from carbohydrates? Okay, so now you got to use your head just a little bit, okay? Percentage of calories from carbohydrates. What's your total carbohydrate? It's 23, right? 23 grams of carbohydrates, but grams doesn't help me. I've got to convert grams into what? Calories, because I'm going to find percent of calories. So 23 times 4 gives me, right, because it's 4 calories for every gram. Does that make sense? It's going to give me 4 times 3 is 12 times 2. It's going to give me 92 calories. 92 calories. Now, by the way, he actually got this question right, but I think he was guessing. So if you have 92 calories of carbohydrates, what percent of that from 120 is going to be the answer? What is the percentage of calories from carbs? I hope that makes sense. You took your grams, right? And you multiply it by your conversion factor. 4 calories, excuse me, that's proteins, 4 calories per gram. So you multiply it, that's 92. If you have 1 gram of carbohydrate, you got 4. If you got 23, boom, 4 times 23 gives you 92. All you have to do now is divide by 120. And that's it. Why? Because it's a percent of 120 calories, right? This is your serving. This is the grams. We do this all the time, by the way, when we're in the when I'm in the live course. It's just trying to help folks go through, and we do a lot of food labels and look through and sort of parse out the percentages, because ultimately, from a purely nutritional, real world perspective, we want to put people on normally like a 40, 30, 30, and that's percent of proteins, carbs, and fats from their total caloric intake. So 120 calories, 92 calories. Obviously, it's going to be a percentage of that. The way you find percent is 92 over 120 times 100. Remember basic algebra, and that's a 0. Basic algebra, and that gives you 77%. And I'm just going to, just to be safe, here's what I want to do, folks. Pull out your calculators. 92 divided by 120 is equal to 0.766666, which is going to be rounded up to 0.77 times 100 gives you 77%. Okay, let's run through it again. What is the percent of calories? You've been given grams. They want calories and percent of calories. You've been giving grams. You got to convert grams to calories. 23 grams times 4 gives you 92 calories. Okay, do that over and over in your head, and it'll become automatic. As soon as I see calories, I look on my food label, because my food label normally doesn't give you percentages. It just basically tells you 23 grams in one serving. So out of 120 calories, I've got 92 calories. 92, now you would use your calculator. You know, I guess you can do 23 times 4 in your head, but use your calculator. Gives you 92. Immediately, 92 divided by 120 will give you 0.77. Pow, there's your answer. That's how you got that one. Let's move on to the next one. How many fat calories are contained in a 1 cup serving? Okay, so what's your deal? I need fat calories. Nutrition labels give you, whoa, there we go. Nutrition labels give you grams normally. Okay, and they want to know a half cup. They want to know 1 cup, but you're only given a half cup. So what are you going to have to do? Whatever you convert grams to calories, you got to multiply by 2. Why? Because the serving size is a half cup, 0.5 grams of total fat. By the way, how many calories are in 1 gram of fat? The answer is 9, correct? Okay, so there's 1 gram of fat, there's 9 calories. In half a cup would be 4.5 calories, right? See that? That's a decimal point. So 4.5 grams in half a cup. They want to know what 1 cup is. Technically, you have to multiply again by 2, and that gets you back to 9. I mean, you already had the number, but I wanted to work you through the arithmetic, because it's not always going to be that simple. Half a gram is 4.5 calories. 1 gram is 9 calories, hence the reason 9 is the answer. Okay. Now, again, why he got this wrong, it could be that he just took a half and probably didn't realize they were asking for 1 cup. By the way, if you want to practice this, just change up some of the numbers. Don't use 1 cup serving. Use I don't know, use a 2 cup serving. What if it said how many fat calories are contained in a 2 cup serving? What would the answer be then? It'd be 5, right? To go from half a cup to 2, you'd have to multiply by 4. So now you're at 18, if that's how you wanted to do it. So I hope that makes sense. Replay the video if you're not getting this. It all came down to what? Fat, 9, right? For every gram of fat, you have 9 calories. Remember, grams, right? 1 gram of fat, 9 calories, half a gram of fat, 4.5 calories. 2 grams of fat, 18 calories. Do you get the idea? And now all you're doing is answering their question. They want to know 1 cup serving. It's got to be double. Whatever that number is in the half cup, which is a half, you got to double it. So it's basically 1 gram of fat. 1 gram of fat is what you'd find in 1 cup serving in this case. We already know 1 gram of fat is 9 kilocalories. So I hope that makes sense. This was his last question. How many protein calories would be consumed if a client ate the entire container? Okay, well, can you figure this out? Can you figure it out? How many protein calories? What did we already say? They want to know calories, but what are they going to give you? They're going to give you grams. And what's the conversion? Protein has 4 calories for every gram. So in just one serving, how many calories of protein? In just one serving. Here's your serving size, and you got 7 grams in a half a cup, right? So 7 times 4 is equal to 28, right? So I got 28 calories in one serving. Well, how many servings are in the container? If you ate the entire container, you got 3 servings. So what's 28 times 3? I sure hope it's 84. Let me see. 8 times 3 is 24. You put the 2, 6, 7, 80. Voila, there it is. Does that make sense? Let me go back over that again. You have to remember your equations. 4 calories for every gram in proteins, basically. 4 calories for every gram. If I've got 7 grams, then I've got 28 calories in this half a cup serving, but there's 3 servings. So I got to multiply 28 by 3. Look, I know some of you are probably looking at that and going, oh, that was so easy. I did that. Well, okay, good for you. That's great, because ultimately the goal here is for you to not have any issues on the actual test. And if you can pass and you know how to do the math straight out, good. Try and do it faster. How's that? Try and do it a little bit faster. So when you look at that, you can go bam, 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 done. Now look, the arithmetic, again, I know that on the ACE exam, you're probably not going to get 10 questions that are related to math problems, but you will get some. It's almost a guarantee now, especially as we're hearing more and more from students continuing to take tests, is that they're saying, oh yeah, I had 2 questions like that, or I had 1 question. Please remember, if you have the time to study all through that particular chapter, then go for it. But keep in mind, look at the long term as well. Knowing how to read food labels just for yourself and for your clients is a critical skill to have, and to be able to do it fast. Normally what I'll do is I'll just ask a client, just bring something in, or just show it to me, or I can Google it. Well, it's a this dinner or something. Boom, I pull it right up and I go, boom, I go, check this out. Holy cow, you're actually getting a lot of fat in this particular, why? Because they're eating the whole package, blah, blah, blah. But whatever the case is. Look, I hope this was helpful. Again, a post like that is perfect, because when we can look at it, and I can show it to you, I can screenshot it, pull it up. It's a great way for everybody that's in this group to kind of look at it and get a better feel for the type of questions that they may see on the exam. We want you to pass it on the first shot, remember. More importantly, is it gives you an opportunity to get that question out into the group. And of course, I'm going to take a look at it, and I'm going to try and, as best I can, break it down and make it simple. Please let us know how we can help you. You got any questions, just post them in a group, and I will be more than happy to spend some time on them. Remember, Corey and I do a Q&A every Wednesday at 2 p.m. If you got questions, any type of questions, sure, you can ask questions related to the ACE materials, but we really would like to have you ask some questions real world, because a lot of you are already training people probably, or you're training and you've been training a while and now you're getting your certification. We want to help you with real world stuff too, right? Business as well as a lot of nutrition. Now, remember, that nutrition information is pretty straightforward. But there's a lot that you need to know in the real world from a nutrition perspective. So we're more than happy to help you out. Always a pleasure doing these weekly study sessions. If you have any questions, reach out to us and we'll see you next week. Thanks. Have a great weekend, by the way.